What up everybody, this is Hinukan and we're trying out Campfire Spooky Stories, which we'll actually do a few episodes of these because this isn't a standard game. This is a game where we're telling stories, scary stories around a campfire. Because it is spooky season, so that's it. Let's get to it. By the way, this is on itch.io for free. I'll put the link in the description. But again, that's it. Let's get right to it. Ooh, I like it. Okay. So we just click on someone. Story list. Let's start with the first person, kind of go in a round order. Story list, The Dolls. As a child, I was always quiet. And my conversations with others would always end up awkward. Because of that, I always preferred to be alone growing up. Which probably explains my strange obsession with toys. Being as old as I am, they never talk. They just stare. I have to say though, being alone in an apartment full of figurines can be creepy sometimes. However, being with my girl for almost 2 years, she understands my obsession well. But with this much, she would probably be shocked when she first sees them. That night, she was more than excited to see my house. As we approached the door, she could barely contain her excitement. So, without further delay, I swung the front door open. "Make yourself at home," I say to her. It's kind of messy, but it's more comfortable than it. Her face was in shock. Then absolute terror, she started to scream. I tried to calm her, but it just got worse. I was puzzled. Is she afraid of my toys? I understand it's a bit strange, but is it that horrifying? I take a quick look in my house, but there's nothing horrific. I had to calm her down, as the neighbors were starting to come out. With a quick impulse, I quickly drag her in my house as I try to ease her mind. Her screaming just got louder and louder. At this point, I had no choice but to put my hand over her mouth. She watched me in terror with eyes rolling. That kind of broke the mood, didn't it? Watch me in terror with eyes rolling down her face. Watch me in terror with tears rolling down her face. I turned around, and they were all staring at me as well. I'm alone again. I placed her doll on the top shelf above all the others I have dated. Her look made me feel depressed, so I made it face the wall until I was able to get over it. Wow, that one was... I had a feeling where it was going, but I wasn't too keen on that. The Scarecrow. As Jake trudged through the cornfield, he recalled the argument he'd had that morning with his pa. But they've only been up a month. They don't need changing. He had yelled, "Yes they do, Jake. Every one. And I want that first Scarecrow replaced by sundown." He shifted the heavy bag slung over his shoulder and cursed at himself for not thinking of something more clever to say. He clutched the stepladder in his other arm like a lance, and fantasized about different endings to the fight. "I do all the work," he thought to himself, "and just once I'd like some say-so as to how and when things get done." Striding up to the stoic figure, he put the bag down and planted the ladder. "Dang things last almost 2 months with proper care," he fumed as he stepped up. He pulled off the garish hood and was met with a chorus of buzzing horseflies. Jake had just enough time to see the boy's glazed eyes and the dried blood in his nostrils before the head slumped forward. "Huh," he mused. "Pa was right." Oh, God. I wasn't expecting that one. Alright, darkness in the rear view. Let's get it done. I have always been uneasy driving alone at night. It was worse the first few times, when I had just gotten my license, but the nagging fear has never gone away to this day. It's disorienting to look into the mirrors and see nothing. And I mean nothing but the consuming blackness of the night. It makes me hesitant to check the mirrors. Should I see this dark void, or worse, someone sitting in my backseat staring at me? In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home alone on Highway 902 from a party. It was almost midnight, and needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night, I was on edge. I had the radio off and could hear nothing but the muffled roar of the tires on pavement and the dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rearview mirror and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. I know that I looked backward and saw something. I'm sure of it. Just the seemingly endless blackness of the night. I remembered it so clearly because not 10 seconds later a car passed me to the left, headlights on. I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes, like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window, when it's just a tree. 10 seconds earlier, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. I drove all the way home shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found 2 sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear, one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months, but that was the first time that I distinctly remembered seeing them. I first thought that I had experienced something paranormal. I believed I saw a ghost car that had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror. But what truly happened is even more dreadful. The car had approached me from the rear and passed me to my left, but something tremendously large and as black as the night had been clinging to the rear of my car, obscuring my view through the window and leaving deep scratches on the sides. And I had inadvertently driven it home with me. Oh. So that's what he meant. He was looking out the back window, but all he saw was darkness, the night. But yet, all of a sudden a car went past him. All because something was blocking the back glass that was just as pitch black as the night. Although you would have thought, maybe he would have been like, hey, where's the road? Because even your backlights tend to light up a little bit sometimes. Well, it depends. But no, that's still like, what the heck, bro? Okay. Yep. Wyland's a short creepypasta. Okay. Little Emily vanished last year. Now they're pouring new sidewalks in my neighborhood, and I found her name in the wet cement. Alright. Written in remembrance. But it was written in reverse. And from below... Oh. That's not cool. So her ghost is writing up from the ground. Oh, God. Alright. That was very short and kind of like, oh. Took a second to figure out. Alright, he stood against my window. We'll do this one. Let's see what's up. I don't know why I looked up. But when I did, I saw him there. He stood against my window. His forehead rested against the glass, and his eyes were still and light, and he smiled a lipstick red. Cartoonish grin. Alright, I'm breaking the mood here. It's funny because I see these and I should be clicking faster, but when I have to read these parts after the pause, it throws it way off. Also makes it for a good little bit of comedic relief. and he just stood there in the window. My wife was upstairs sleeping, my son was in his crib, and I couldn't move. I froze and watched him looking past me through the glass. Oh, please no. His smile never moved, but he put a hand up and slid it down the glass, watching me. With matted hair and yellow skin and face through the window, I couldn't do anything. I just stayed there, frozen, feet still in the bushes. I was pruning, looking into my home. He stood against my window. I'm confused. Oh, because he's talking about... Yeah, I just stayed there, frozen, feet still in the bushes. I was pruning, looking into my home. He stood against my window. Oh, the dude was outside. What? No, I'm like, the dude saying he was out. That's a weird one. Some of these are written a little bit strange. Hey, let's continue. We'll get one more guy in. I think we got enough time. These will be kind of short episodes because I want to do multiples during the Halloween spooky season, so we'll get this guy's stories. Father figure. My father's footsteps, ringing distance from the hall, was my lullaby when I was younger. In the dead of night, when my back was turned to the door, I would hear the familiar padding of his white and gray socks colliding with the hardwood floor outside my bedroom. The door would open, and a thin cascade of golden light streaming from where he'd come would land across my bed. The sound of his steps would become softer now, muffled by the plush white carpeting settled along the ground, and upon my forehead, his hand would gently push my bangs away, and his lips would press tenderly to my skin. At times, I would turn my head to face him. My sleepy gaze would meet his, and in the darkness, his pearl teeth would shine in a warm smile, and I would smile in return. I couldn't understand why, at 14 years old, his nightly visits ceased. Upon asking my mother about this, she turned to me, gaze softened and lips parted just enough to emit tender words. Well, she stated softly, as you get older, you see ghosts less and less. Bro, that was a good one. That was actually a good one. I thought it was going into a horrible direction, but that was pretty good. Angel. A few years ago, a married couple decided they needed a break, so they wanted to head out for a night on the town. They called their most trusted babysitter. When the babysitter arrived, the two children were already fast asleep in bed. So the babysitter just got to sit around and make sure everything was okay with the children. Later that night, the babysitter got bored and went to watch TV. But she couldn't watch it downstairs because they did not have cable downstairs. How dare! The parents didn't want children watching too much garbage. Fair enough. So she called them and asked them if she could watch cable in the parents' room. Of course, the parents said it was okay. But the babysitter had one final request. She asked if she could cover up the angel statue outside the bedroom window with a blanket or cloth, because it made her nervous. The phone line was silent for a moment, and the father who was talking to the babysitter at the time said, "Take the children and get out of the house, and we'll call the police. We don't own an angel statue." The police found both of the children and the babysitter slumped in pools of their own blood. They died 3 minutes before the call. Wait, what? And no statue was found. So they died 3 minutes before the call, but they made... Some of these are like, oh wait, what? Windows. There was a hunter in the woods who, after a long day hunting, was in the middle of an immense forest. It was getting dark, and having lost his bearings, he decided to head in one direction until he was clear of the increasingly oppressive foliage. After what seemed like hours, he came across a cabin in a small clearing. Realizing how dark it had grown, he decided to see if he could stay there for the night. He approached and found the door ajar. Nobody was inside. The hunter flopped down on the single bed, deciding to explain himself to the owner in the morning. As he looked around, he was surprised to see the walls adorned by many portraits, all painted in incredible detail. Without exception, they appeared to be staring down at him. Whoa. Their features twisted into looks of hatred. Staring back, he grew increasingly uncomfortable. Making a concerted effort to ignore the many hateful faces, he turned to face the wall, and exhausted, he fell into a restless sleep. Face down in an unfamiliar bed, he turned, blinking in unexpected sunlight. Looking up, he discovered that the cabin had no portraits, only windows. That is creepy. Alright. Another mirror. Another short creepy pasta. I used to call them creepy pastas. The next time you're alone in your room, dim the lights. Grab a ruler and look in the mirror. Quickly grab a hair at random. Hold it in position as best as you can and note the length. Still looking in the mirror, look down. Yours will be different. Don't look back up. Oh. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but okay. One more short one. Bad idea. Every time you exhale, a little bit of your soul escapes. Luckily, you almost always inhale it back before anyone else gets to it. Almost. Ever fogged up a mirror with your breath? Don't do that. That's more funny than creepy. Alright. I'm going to say, like I said, these are going to be kind of multiple short episodes all throughout the spooky season. So I'm going to cut this one here. But we're going to come back because I want to get the last 3 stories here done. And maybe we'll share those last 3 for the next episode. With that said, I do thank you all for watching. And happy spooky season to all of you. And I'll see you all in the next one. Later.